What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to some Dungeon Defenders 2. We're going to turn some trash to treasure today through the Elemental Rumble game mode. The Elemental Rumble game mode, of course, is the newest shiny in the latest update to Dungeon Defenders 2. This is where your new set pieces are going to be dropping. You can get these set pieces on any difficulty. The higher the difficulty, the greater the chance of getting a drop. However, even on the hardest difficulty, the drops are incredibly rare. Not only do you need to get the drop, but you need to get the drop with the correct roll on it. So getting something like this hero health piece on the hero damage fire set basically makes that a junk piece of gear. It's not worth giving up the hero damage that you would have by having the correct roll on that item to get the set bonus. So you don't want to settle with the sets. If you don't have a complete set, you want to keep using your old set. You know, don't bother switching to the new system until you get a full set together. Now, one thing that everyone has found very, very quickly is you can, without a doubt, brute force it without using the actual game mechanic. So if you just go in and say, put physical damage on every lane, you're going to be doing 50% damage against every single lane. However, you can get through it, but it is going to require active play. Now, with that in mind, if you use the game mechanic, you're going to find that your experience is not only not so demanding as far as what you're actually doing, but actually kind of chill, and you can just grind it out while you're watching a show and doing whatever you're doing. Kind of like how we play the majority of Dungeon Defenders 2. It is a grind game. Since it's a grind game, we're going to have to play maps a million times. Since we're going to have to play maps a million times, then there's no reason to not find a way to do it while you're watching Game of Thrones or doing whatever you're doing on the side. Now, with this in mind, we've got the previous trash tier mods that no one was really using, as it was almost always a wasted mod slot, and that is the element mods. So things like the water servo, the earth servo, these things have been basically worthless and sitting around, and they're now actually quite valuable. You can pick your premium map every week. Like this week, it is Forest Crossroads. If you do that map, most people I think would agree that's the easiest map on this week's rotation. You're going to be able to do it in a super chill fashion that allows you to do something else on the side if you use the actual mechanic that is being offered to us. Now, like I said, I'm well aware that you don't have to, and if you want to play actively, and you want to sit there and pew on all the lanes, then without a doubt, you can ignore the mechanic. However, with that in mind, if you want to actually achieve your set without losing any levels of your sanity, you are going to have to do this a lot. I don't have all the numbers put together yet, but I have been collecting numbers from various places. Aramir, myself, we've both been grinding a lot. Self-Manifest has been grinding an absolute ton, and with massive amounts of hours, none of us have a fine-tuned set put together yet that I'm aware of, unless someone got a set put together yesterday. So it is going to take a lot. It is a super rare loot mode. Compare this to trying to hunt down perfect ultimate plus pieces. They're not even perfect, but just ultimate plus pieces with all the correct stats and a high number of upgrades on it in Dungeon Defenders 1. You could realistically put 1,000 hours into grinding survival mode in DD1 before you get your sets fully fine-tuned very easily, where the high-end players have many thousands of hours. I know several people in DD1 that do have pretty high stat sets that are more like in that 10,000 hour mark. So we already know Dungeon Defenders is grind. That's what it means in Etherean. If you type the word into the Google Etherean translator and you punch in Dungeon Defenders, it is going to come back as the translation means grind more. And that is no different with Elemental Rumble. So let's get back into these element relics and why you should be using them. I started using them last night. During the course of that, I watched the majority of Season 10 of The Walking Dead because I found that I no longer had to sit there and sweat or make sure that a hero boost was, or a tower boost was active, or make sure I was knocking back the bosses. And just by using good crowd control with the correct elements, I was able to kind of chill and get lots of maps run and lots of farming done while doing something else on the side. So this is what I did. I basically converted a bunch of relics over to just generic elemental relics. We got defense rate, water servo, and anti-melee on this one. We got defense rate, controller, and earth servo on that one. Defense rate, anti-melee, and fire servo on that one. This one here that I'm actively using, defense rate, anti-melee, and storm servo. Now, defense rate and the element would be the required mods. The third mod is you can really use anything. In a perfect world, if you were just focused on absolutely maximizing the Elemental Rumble game mode, then you would want to have the accompanying new mod on that relic. So, for example, this particular Storm Servo relic is going to be used on water lanes. If instead of having anti-melee, I instead had the water counter servo, then that is going to give me a 45% anti-mod on that water lane. So you would want to have water counter servo on a relic with storm servo, and then you would use that item on the water lane. Now, one of the big benefits here is it does give you some diversity and allows you to play around with different builds and not rot your brain away by spamming fissures or whatever you're spamming over and over and over again for hundreds and hundreds of runs, because you can pick these relics up and move them anywhere. Any powerful, ideally 30 DU defense in the game that's going to get lots of value from upgrades is going to be a great place for this. So, like the Sand Viper, I think most of us know, is one of the most powerful things in the game, particularly if you're tower boosting, combined with that ramping beam shard. You get some really, really funny interactions, and you get massive, massive amounts of damage while boosting with, say, an Initiate onto a Sand Viper. So Sand Vipers are a natural go-to. With that in mind, I got some new Mystics here. We got Earth, Water, Fire, and Stormy. That's my 4 new Mystics, and each one is going to have a Sand Viper with a different element. Well, let's say I get bored of using Sand Vipers, or I just want to mix it up and do something different. Well, the Sentry Turret, another very, very strong low DU defense, you can throw your relics on that and get the job done there as well. So hopefully no one threw away their old elemental relics, because they're now actually very, very usable. Depending on how you're playing Dungeon Defenders 2, for me personally, 99% of the time that I play the game from here on out is going to be in Elemental Rumble mode. I have no reason to do any of the other game modes. Survival, I'll still play to get Godly Orbs. However, I'm done with my Ancient Power resets, so I've got not much of a reason to visit Onslaught mode. And then for general farming and expeditions, you don't need fine-tuned sets, so you can use just about anything. Which means by setting up proper elemental counters, I'm going to be able to handle the majority of my play in Elemental Rumble, but additionally still be able to farm the Godly Orbs or the regular crafting mats in expeditions and survival. Now, this is not a must-do. By all means, like I mentioned, you can brute force it, without a doubt, but if you want to turn your experience into a more relaxing one, where you're farming massive hours instead of just going in and getting completions, then you're going to want to set up and use the actual game mechanic that is available. Now, Knockback is incredibly strong as well, which makes the Flak Cannon a very, very powerful addition for any hero. The flak cannon, once again, is already 30 DU. You can attune it to any element, and you can actually use the shard and get it converted to fire damage right away. Where is it? Powder shot will attune it to fire damage. So just with the shard, you don't have to bother setting up. And this is actually a best-in-slot shard, so you're going to get the most power and the attunement out of the fire flak cannons just by using powder shot. Now, of course, if you're trying to use a different element, and you're going to want to get powder shot out of there and use another element in place. But yeah, the flak cannons are a great choice, and they provide that knockback, which is just going to help you out. So happy farming, y'all. As soon as I get to 1,000 is the number that I'm looking for as far as individual map run results. I've got several people working on it. Self-Manifest has been streaming pretty much constantly over on Twitch. I'll put a link to his Twitch channel down below. Aramir has been playing absolutely nonstop as well. And we're collecting numbers from all of these folks, and hopefully we'll get you guys an actual percentage. It's looking like it's going to be about, on hard mode, maybe 3 to 4% chance of getting one of those armor pieces to drop. Now, that doesn't mean, of course, you're going to get one every 25 runs, because there's no pity system. And it's like a 3 to 4% chance to get the item each individual time. So, super, super rare. Definitely going to be tough to put these sets together. It's going to take a lot of runs. So hopefully that helps you all with your grind and giving it a little bit more of a chillaxing element in Dungeon Defenders 2. So thanks a ton for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and I will see you next time around. Take it easy.